Outlaw, a special investigation into the record number of policies proposed and passed into law impacting the state's LGBTQ+ population last legislative session. It's been nearly a year since that session at the Capitol wrapped up and 6 months since our team took a deep dive into this topic. Some new laws are already moving forward and causing controversy.
Others that brought some of the most controversy during the session are now stuck in court challenges, like one aimed to criminalize some performances that critics worry could include drag shows. Right now, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit has ruled this law will remain blocked, meaning it's not currently in effect until the court issues a final ruling.
We're also awaiting a decision on a law that prevents certain medical treatment for transgender children and threatens the licenses of doctors who provide that care. This decision will come from the Texas Supreme Court, which heard oral arguments in the state's appeal of a lower court's injunction, which said the law was unconstitutional. Because it's been appealed to the high court, the injunction is paused, and the law is currently in effect.
The statute is narrowly tailored to protecting children from interventions that interfere with their growth and development and have irreversible physical effects, all without proven mental health benefit.
In attempting to justify Senate Bill 14 in this case, the state has disregarded widely recognized benefits of the care that Senate Bill 14 bans and the risk of doing nothing to treat gender dysphoria.
As we wait for a decision, related actions are playing out across the state. In recent days, the Austin City Council voted to approve offering some protections to local transgender people seeking gender-affirming care. The measure, the first of its kind in Texas since SB 14 took effect, directs Austin police to make enforcement of the state's new law as their lowest priority. And in recent weeks, we've updated you on how courts have blocked the state from launching investigations based on allegations parents are providing children gender-affirming care, and also blocked the state from investigating how a nonprofit supports Texas families seeking that medical care for their transgender children.
One new law wasn't law for long, and it appears it will stay that way for the near future. The Reader Act was dubbed by opponents as a book ban, as it required book publishers and sellers to rate materials sold to libraries. Some opponents worried that would essentially shut out books mentioning LGBTQ+ topics in public schools. A federal appeals court ruled the law was an unconstitutional breach of the First Amendment protection against compelled speech. We last reported in January the state's attorney general planned to appeal the ruling, but then in April, the court declined to reconsider the case.
SB 17, a Texas law that banned diversity, equity, and inclusion offices at public universities in the state.
At least 20 UT Austin employees linked to diversity, equity, and inclusion work on campus. They're set to lose their jobs effective July 5th.
For months, we've been tracking the impact of a new law in effect requiring diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, offices at public universities in Texas to disband this year. This measure also shuts down university-run LGBTQ+ centers and groups organized under those offices. It's also starting to have an impact on staffing at those schools. One of the biggest examples, the University of Texas at Austin fired dozens of its employees, with leaders saying the school, quote, eliminated positions and programs due to the new law. The bill's author, Senator Brandon Creighton, tells us not all universities appear to be complying, and he warned non-compliance may result in freezing state funding to those schools or even legal action.
We have feedback from campuses all over the state on either progress with implementing the law as it's intended or continuing efforts to, in some cases, subvert the intentions and the spirit of the law.
One new law that's gone unchallenged since it went into effect requires athletes at public colleges or universities to play on teams that match their sex on their birth certificates. That essentially bars transgender athletes from competing on teams that correspond with their gender identity. 24 other states have similar laws to the one in Texas. And while Texas hasn't had any legal pushback, other states have. Most recently, a federal appeals court ruled West Virginia's law violated a transgender teen's athlete's rights under Title IX. As laws face challenges or even potential challenges, supporters, including legislators, are often looking for ways to return in the future sessions at the Capitol to strengthen what's already passed, to ensure courts uphold what's on the books.
That often is also the case for bills that didn't pass. Last session, there were a record 141 filed impacting LGBTQ+ Texans.
Most didn't pass, but some progressed well through the legislative process. So there's potential several could reemerge in next year's session. And our team continues to check back on those we've covered in our Outlaw investigation.
Yes, to see the latest updates and to catch up on our full project, go to this story in the Texas Politics section of this station's website.
Thanks, Josh. A bombshell accusation. A professor accused of saying something hateful to a UT student during pro-Palestinian demonstrations. The new claims heard at the state capitol while lawmakers examine anti-Semitism on campus.